There are moments in life when destiny stands right in front of us, quietly unfolding, yet we fail to recognize it. We pray for signs, we ask for direction, we long for clarity, and all the while, God has already begun revealing our future through experiences, dreams, challenges, even delays. The truth is that many of us have already seen glimpses of where we are going. We have felt it in our hearts, sensed it in our spirits, and encountered it in repeated patterns of our lives. Yet because it did not arrive in the way we expected, we dismissed it. Because it did not look grand enough, fast enough, or easy enough, we failed to recognize that God was showing us exactly what He has prepared for us. From childhood, there were passions that would not fade, talents that appeared naturally, burdens that weighed heavily on your heart when you saw injustice or pain. Those were not accidents. They were seeds planted deliberately. God does not randomly place desires in your heart. He aligns purpose with passion. When you consistently feel drawn towards something meaningful, that draw is not coincidence. It is direction. Many times, your future is revealed in the things that stir your soul the most deeply. The problem is not that God has been silent. The problem is that we expected thunder when He was whispering. There were dreams you once carried that felt too big for your circumstances. You looked at your background, your resources, your environment, and you concluded that those dreams were unrealistic. But what if those dreams were previews? What if they were glimpses of what God was already preparing for you? God often shows the destination before He reveals the path. He plants vision before He builds character. He allows you to see fragments of your future so that when the process becomes difficult, you remember that there is something greater ahead. Many times, the future God shows you comes disguised as a burden. You notice problems that others ignore. You feel called to solve issues that do not directly benefit you. That burden is not random frustration. It is divine assignment. God reveals your future by placing in you the solution to something the world desperately needs. But because the burden feels heavy, because it demands responsibility, you resist it. You fail to recognize that the weight you carry is connected to the greatness you are meant to walk in. Plenty your struggles have also been part of the revelation. The battles you have faced were not meant to destroy you, but to prepare you. Every trial was shaping the strength required for the future you are called to. The rejection you experienced built resilience. The betrayal developed discernment. The delays cultivated patience. You thought those seasons were signs that you were forgotten, but they were actually evidence that you were being refined. God was building capacity within you long before the platform appeared. Sometimes God shows you your future through repetition. The same opportunity keeps presenting itself in different forms. The same type of people keep entering your life. The same calling keeps echoing in your heart. You try to run from it, yet it follows you. You try to silence it, yet it grows louder. That repetition is not coincidence. It is confirmation. When God repeats something in your life, it is because He is emphasizing its importance. The future you are meant to embrace will not easily leave you alone. Damlias, there were moments when you felt out of place in certain environments. You felt too big for small thinking, too visionary for limited mindsets. You tried to shrink yourself to fit in, but it never felt comfortable. That discomfort was revelation. God was showing you that you were designed for spaces that matched your calling. Feeling different was not a flaw. It was an indication that your future required growth beyond your current surroundings. Then God also reveals the future through doors that close. You prayed for certain relationships to last, certain jobs to remain, certain plans to succeed. When they fell apart, you felt defeated. But those closed doors were not punishments. They were protection. If God allowed you to see everything He is shielding you from, you would understand that what left your life had to go in order for your future to unfold. Every ending cleared space for something aligned with your destiny. There have been seasons when everything felt slow. Progress seemed invisible. You compared your timeline to others and felt behind. Yet God's timing does not operate on comparison. What looks like delay is often strategic positioning. He was aligning circumstances, preparing people, and arranging opportunities that you could not see. While you focused on the silence, He was working behind the scenes. While you doubted, He was designing. The future God shows you often contradicts your current reality. That is why it requires faith. If you could fully explain it, it would not require trust. Faith bridges the gap between what you see and what God has promised. The vision you carry may not match your bank account, your resume, or your social circle right now, but it aligns with the one who placed it in you. Recognition begins when you stop evaluating your future by your present limitations. Jen, there were conversations where people spoke life into you and you brushed it off. They saw leadership in you. They saw creativity in you. They saw influence in you. You dismissed their words as kindness. But sometimes God uses others to reflect what He has already placed inside you. When multiple people recognize the same strength in you, it is rarely accidental. It is affirmation. Bang! Even your failures have been part of the revelation. The times you tried and fell short taught you what does not align with your purpose. They redirected your energy. They humbled your heart. Failure is not the opposite of destiny. It is often the pathway toward it. God allows missteps to. Each mistake carved out clarity about who you are and who you are not meant to be. There were moments of deep restlessness. You achieved something you once desired, yet it did not satisfy you. That dissatisfaction was not ingratitude, it was revelation. It was a sign that you were created for more. When temporary success, it is because your spirit recognizes that it has not yet reached its true assignment. God allows you to taste certain things so that you realize they are not your final destination. The future has also been shown in the courage you display during adversity. When others gave up, you found strength to continue. When circumstances suggested surrender, something within you refused to quit. That inner resilience is not self-generated, it is divinely sustained. God does not preserve something He does not plan to use. The fact that you are still standing is evidence that your story is not finished. Sometimes you expected a dramatic revelation, a loud declaration from heaven. Instead, God revealed your future through daily discipline, through consistent effort, through small, unnoticed acts of obedience. Destiny is rarely built in a single moment. It is constructed through The habits you are developing now are shaping the life you will step into later. Jean, there were times you felt called to encourage others even while you were struggling. You found yourself giving strength that you wished you had. That paradox reveals purpose. Often the very thing you offer others is connected to your calling. God allows you to minister from wounds that He is healing. Your empathy is preparation. Your compassion is training. The vision of your future may have frightened you. It felt too large, too demanding. You doubted your ability to carry it. But God never reveals a future without also providing the growth necessary to sustain it. He stretches you gradually. He strengthens you quietly. The person you are becoming is designed to handle the destiny ahead. Recognition requires awareness. It demands that you reflect on patterns in your life, the interests that persist, the lessons that repeat, the doors that open unexpectedly. When you look back, you begin to see that nothing was random. The connections were intentional. The detours were strategic. The challenges were refining. Your future is not separate from your identity. It flows from who you are at your core. God formed you with intention. Your personality, your strengths, your perspective, all align with an assignment. When you try to imitate others, you drift from clarity. When you embrace who you are, the direction becomes clearer. Glenn, there were moments when fear convinced you that you were unworthy. It whispered that your past disqualified you. It magnified your flaws. But God does not consult your fear when designing your future. He sees potential where you see limitation. He sees redemption where you see regret. Your past may explain you, but it does not define your destiny. The opportunities that intimidated you were not accidents. The invitations that stretched your comfort zone were not coincidences. They were glimpses of the environment you are meant to thrive in. Growth feels uncomfortable because it requires expansion. Expansion signals preparation. Sometimes the future God shows you begins internally before it manifests externally. You start thinking differently. Your values shift, your priorities change. That internal transformation is the foundation. God reshapes your mindset before He reshapes your circumstances. The person you are becoming internally will determine how you handle external elevation. There were nights when you felt alone, yet those quiet seasons cultivated intimacy with God. In solitude, clarity grows. Distractions fade. Your dependence deepens. God often reveals the clearest vision in moments when the noise is removed. The isolation you resented was actually sacred preparation. You may have overlooked the significance of small beginnings, a minor role, a modest platform, a quiet contribution. Yet greatness often starts unnoticed. God tests faithfulness in obscurity before entrusting influence publicly. The way you handle small responsibilities reveals readiness for larger ones. Your future has also been shown in the peace you feel when you consider certain paths. Despite uncertainty, there is calm assurance. That peace is guidance. It is the quiet confirmation that you are aligned. When anxiety dominates a direction, it may signal misalignment. When peace persists, it often reflects divine leading. Comparison has clouded your vision. Watching others succeed in areas different from your calling created confusion. But destiny is not competitive. It is personal. The path designed for you cannot be walked by anyone else. Recognizing your future requires releasing the need to match someone else's journey. There were times when resources appeared unexpectedly. Help arrived at the right moment. Support came from surprising places. Those provisions were not random luck. They were evidence of alignment. When you move toward your purpose, provision follows. God has been showing you your future through courage you did not know you possessed, through wisdom you did not realize you carried, through doors you did not think you deserved. Every step forward, even the hesitant ones, have been part of revelation. The reason you did not recognize it is because you were looking for perfection. You assumed destiny would arrive polished and complete. Instead, it arrived as potential. It arrived as growth. It arrived as process. Recognition comes when you understand that your future unfolds gradually. The vision God gives is not meant to inflate ego, but to inspire responsibility. It is a calling to serve, to lead, to impact. When you shift from self-doubt to stewardship, clarity increases. You begin to see that your life carries meaning beyond personal success. Binjan, there is power in looking back and acknowledging how far you have come. The progress you dismissed as small is actually profound. The resilience you developed is remarkable. The insight you gained is invaluable. When you reflect honestly, you realize that God has been faithful consistently. You were never lost. You were learning. You were never forgotten. You were being formed. The future was never absent. It was unfolding. Now is the time to recognize what has been shown, to embrace the calling that has followed you, to accept the vision that refuses to fade, to trust that the same God who planted the dream will sustain the journey. Lend Your Future is not a distant fantasy. It is a present, unfolding reality. Every disciplined choice, every act of faith, every moment of perseverance moves you closer. Recognition transforms hesitation into confidence. Stand firmly in the understanding that you are not ordinary. Your experiences have been curated. Your strengths have been crafted. Your challenges have been calculated. God wastes nothing. Every detail contributes to destiny. Bellion, the chosen path may not be easy, but it is purposeful. It may not be quick, but it is certain. What has been shown will come to pass as you align your actions with your belief. Walk forward with awareness. Embrace the vision. Trust the preparation. The future you once failed to recognize is now clearer than ever. It has been with you all along, quietly revealed, patiently waiting for you to see it, believe it, and step fully into it.